Looks like it's working. It says you're live.
Okay.
Yeah, I just notification too.
Okay. So then hold on just a second. So that way I can get everybody that's watching live. We'll wait for some more people to join in.
It's Friday night's main event.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see here. Get some more people to join in. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there's Jeff. Got some more people coming in here any minute now. And something here to our chat. So we got Sandy. Hello, good evening. All right. So everybody, 3 years live on Midgard Musings here, celebrating our 3-year running. Hello, Janet King. Hello, Godfrey Bear. Thank you for the well wishes. Today, joined with us is a whole bunch of friends and some extended family, I'd say. Next to me on the screen, if you're watching, is going to be J.M. Olofsson from the Urdip kindred. You guys are going to be introduced to them individually as we go, but just a quick intro. We got J.M. Olofsson from Urdip. We've got Matt Petrie from Odin's Beard Woodworking. We've got Night Shayde from the Flatline to Beatline podcast and other things. Adam, or Dingo as he is better known by, is the Gothi of the Thuridi folk, our tribe here in Middle Tennessee. Richard McCune, very dear friend and brother of ours here in the Middle Tennessee area. And of course, you guys know him. It's a thing, Mr. Eric Wordweaver Sjerven from the Ravens Call. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining. Hello, Maria. Hello, Janet. Skylie Sullivan. There you are. Hello, Sandy. And welcome, everybody. So please be sure to share this link around and get everybody here to join. We've got 2 hours to go on this live stream, give or take. But before we get too far into like the meat and potatoes of things, I want you guys to know we've got some really cool discussion lined up for tonight's tonight's live show. And we've got some really cool items to give away. So you want to stick around for the 2-hour duration to make sure that you have the opportunity to get all that in. So I'll start with J.M. Olofsson, if you wouldn't mind, sir. Introduce yourself for our audience.
Hey, folks. As he said, J.M. Olofsson. All in all, just I guess a general servant to the community. Work from home with Fjallvatier, creating some of the tools that some of you may use or potentially use, and working on building the community for a better tomorrow.
Yeah, and you are with your organization, or the community, right? The larger heathen community, but your organization is the Urdip organization, right? Based out of North Carolina.
Yep.
So everybody, I'm going to link to you guys his organization at the Facebook page. There's all the information that you want to see as far as the website and everything is going to be posted there. Matter of fact, let's go. Would you rather have the website or the Facebook page, JM?
Either works. The .org site has more
sure.
link.
Yeah, can do. All right, so I'm putting that in the chat. You guys check them out. Thank you for your intro. Let's go next to Night Shayde.
Well, yep. I'm Night Shayde. Most of you know who I am. Host of the podcast Flatline to Beatline and host of Hail and Horns. I've been a Germanic pagan or heathen almost 3 years, but also practicing traditional witchcraft for 32 years. And also created the Viper Alliance as well, which is the first of its kind, where we help fellow pagans, witches, Satanists, Luciferians who are getting bullied. It's the first time in history an alliance has been made between these individuals, individual communities. So hopefully I can, along with my podcast being the only of its kind and the Viper Lines, hopefully it's something that will go down in history and make us stronger as a larger community as a whole.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. All right. Let's go now to Adam. Dingo. Who are you? What do you do?
So yeah, I'm the Gothia New York tribe, and they're really folk. I've been practicing for about 20 years, various paths. I've settled on more of a Norse heathen path in the past few years, for sure. But that's pretty much it. I guess to describe my path, there's an Egyptian concept of, I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly, Seshperon, the lay priest. You know, you have no formal training, but you have experienced so many things, and it's your duty to help others with those similar struggles or finding answers to certain questions. You know, I feel that I've learned from life experience more than anything. You know.
Amazing. Real quick before we move on to the rest of the guests, I do want to acknowledge those in the chat who are donating to the channel. So thank you, Maria Fury, for the $10 super chat. Thank you, Jeff Wright, for the $10 super chat, and thank you, Farland, for the also $9.99 super chat. Say happy 3 years, been great. Looking forward to the live stream as always. Love the community engagement. This is Travis, for anyone that remembers me. Well, thank you, Travis. Thank you again, Maria, who also says happy, or here's to another 3 years. Congrats. And then Jeff, who said happy 3 years. Everyone chip in. It's very appreciated. You guys can donate if you want through Super Chat, but supporting the channel through your likes, views, and comments is by far enough. So thank you all so much for that. Let's go to Matt from Odin's Beard Woodworking. Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, I'm Matt. I hand carve stuff from Odin's Beard Woodworking. I also run Ears Embrace, which is a healer's headspace for mental health issues, PTSD, depression, anxiety, the whole 9 yards. So hopefully I'll be having its own website up and going soon. Right now it's just a Facebook group, but I do plan to have a website up and going for it within probably the next month. But other than that, I hand carve stuff.
Yeah, and you've pretty much been pagan your whole life, right? You've been,
yeah,
this is kind
I
of
was
been
born
who
and
you are.
raised. My grandpa, we were in church. He was reading me Thor comics, saying, "Nah, this is right. This is wrong. This is right. The real Thor. He's not blonde. He's got red hair. He's got a big bushy beard. He's not that smart. His rage rules him."
Very emotional kind of guy.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. What about Richard? What's up with you?
Oh, all right. How you guys doing? My name is Richard McCune, and I've been practicing what some would refer to as Enochian since 2005, and I like to reach out and discover new things, and Enochian was one of them I was drawn to. And I also have been drawn to Egyptian religion a little bit. I just like to read and enjoy it. And however, some of the magic stuff that I've done usually falls in the Enochian magic side of things. However, rather than reading books to understand it, it just, I don't know, for some reason it just comes to me. And it's fun. It's interesting reading all this stuff after the fact and knowing that I've been able to do it. It's just it's very interesting, and that's really me in a nutshell. I do music on the side. I'm a guitar player, and I just enjoy life. And hopefully, you guys have questions about what I do, and be glad to answer them.
For sure. Thank you so much. All right, Eric, batter up.
I get my thing unmuted. Hi guys, I'm Eric Weaver Sjerven, go the other Midgard folk here in East Texas. You guys probably, at least some of you know me from The Raven's Call. Some have picked up my book, The Saga of Bjorn Thorolfsson. I've lost count of how long I've been heathen. It's been a couple of decades anyway. Been pagan all my life, but ended up wandering for a long time, and then found heathenry. It's been over a couple of decades ago. Doing a lot of work right now with my tribe, the Redgar folk here in East Texas, and then trying to get things going with East Texas teams. We have typically monthly meetups and everything where we get together, sometimes every other month, get up local heathens together in the area. With the whole whoop-de-doo lately, we haven't been able to do it in about a year, so we're looking at trying to get that fired back up here pretty soon. So for the viewers in that neck of the woods, stay tuned. You'll see some stuff coming up here pretty soon. I'll put it up on my channel. But yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Yeah, we were talking about this a little bit before the live stream about, getting things back up and running, some of the pandemic restrictions and things in various areas are beginning to be a bit more relaxed. Of course, wanting to stay safe and keep our community safe, but definitely looking forward to establishing some in-person connections again, park moots, things of that nature. So we're definitely looking forward for that type of stuff here in our area in Middle Tennessee. So thank you all for, again, taking the time here to introduce yourselves. And like most everybody here that's watching, I think knows the larger audience, but it's good to get everybody familiar with what everyone's doing. Wanted to kind of go over just what may seem, like a pretty basic thing, but some people that may be watching have been in heathenry or been part of their pagan path for a while. Maybe people that are watching or that will be watching or coming into heathenry and looking for ways to go. Now I know that some of the stuff that I do on this channel, Eric does on his, and JM that he does with Erddipt is intended to help educate. I don't think that any of us sit here and try to determine ourselves or declare ourselves as being any sort of authority, right, in the community at any given point in time. But we're educators. We're students ourselves. I think, at least I'd like to think so. We're all learning still, every one of us. So I thought it would be kind of cool to kind of have a discussion, and for people in the live chat, ask questions away. But we've got people monitoring the chat stream. I'm monitoring as well. Tiffany is our moderator tonight, so thank you, Tiffany, for that service that you're providing. But we wanted to talk a bit about some helpful hints or helpful tips for beginner heathens. I think a lot of people that come to this are maybe intimidated, or they come to heathenry with a lot of excess baggage from maybe a path that they followed previously, religion, whatever. And they want to know where to go and how to start. And it may seem a bit daunting, right? So whoever wants to go first, I don't want to take over the stream. You guys it's open discussion, just chime in. But what can we say as like one of the, important things about starting off as a heathen in this path? It's in Norse heathenry specifically. What do you think is some important things to have in line and to know about before while you're getting into it?
I would say to trust your gut instinct. You get a lot of the new people that want to belong, want to feel a part of something. So they're gung-ho, ready to dive in at all costs sometimes. and you forget your intuition, you forget your gut instinct. And sometimes there are red flags that come up in certain groups or organizations or people that you meet. Don't ignore those. Take that into consideration and level and balance between wanting to be a part of something and knowing that this doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I had an old friend that I had to tell her one time, not everything and everyone is your friend. Don't approach everything or everyone from a spiritual perspective, because it may not be a good thing. So, take caution and trust your gut, right?
One of the biggest things that I see with newbies is they feel the pressure, and it leads to rushing, a lot of rushing things. They feel like they have to belong to a tribe. They feel like they have to belong to a kindred. And listening to channels like mine and Jesse's, where we talk about tribal things on the regular, and I am very tribal focused in my approach. And it's one thing that I try to remind people when they come to the channel and when they're looking into heathenry in general, is to slow down, take your time. Do not feel like you have to rush. This is a worldview. And with a lot of religions, it's easy to just kind of bounce over because they're like a shade off from each other. But when you're talking about heathenry, which in a lot of ways is a completely alien worldview to a lot of people, it takes time to adjust. It takes time. There are things that you won't realize you don't know, or that you haven't clicked into place in the worldview. You won't even realize that those haven't clicked into place for ages. I find that coming into heathenry is stages of epiphany. You'll go through and you'll build and kind of plateau for a while, and then you'll have an epiphany, and all of a sudden you'll start growing again. Like, holy crap, all of a sudden I understand Inengar. Holy crap, all of a sudden I understand Weird Norlog. Those kind of things,
Well, and something that I've mentioned on one of Jesse's podcasts before that my cousin brought up, you can't unsqueeze the toothpaste. Like once you've done something, you can't put that back in. It's already happened. And so you have to accept the consequences of that. And so, right, be careful about be mindful of what you're doing and why you're doing it and everything behind it. You have to explore it from multiple perspectives in order for it to work.
Yeah, I think it's important to do your research, and there's a lot of history in different religions, and I think for someone who is new, I think it's important to understand the history behind it all, because there's a lot out there.
I think to add in some of these gentlemen, I agree with every single one of them. They've been doing it for decades. I'm going on 3 years. And from my perspective is there's so many things. One, yeah, absolutely don't rush. Trust your intuition. Don't get involved in the nitpicking battles that go on. Just keep your mouth shut, your head down, and learn. Once you start gaining a little bit of knowledge, gain from various sources, not just one or two. Don't start a YouTube channel and think you're a scholar, because you're going to get shut down really quick. It's best just to stay quiet, learn as much as you can. It is a path of study, and you'll know you're on the right path when it feels like home, because it felt like home for me. So don't get involved in a lot of the battles that go on, because it's going to end up frustrating you and leaving. Trust me, I know. I'm known as a cage rattler. So I learned the hard way really, really quick. So that would be my advice.
You're spot on with the homecoming thing. That is the number one story I hear from newbies when they come in. I felt the same way myself, is when they discover heathenry, it's like coming home, and it's a homecoming in and of itself. Also, you stumbled onto the whole thing with the nitpicking arguments and everything that happen online. Don't let people tell you how to heathen, folks. figure it out. Take your time. Everybody thinks theirs is right. Everybody thinks theirs is right. And they will tell you that yours is wrong because it's not theirs. Don't listen to that. Take your time, figure yourself out. And yeah. Egel's saga says that wisdom is wisdom regardless of its source. Keep that in mind.
Right.
And also, a lot of newbies, yes, there's different types of heathenry, from continental heathenry or Old Saxon heathenry, which I am, or many know it's Germanic paganism. You have the Norse, you have Frankish, you have Frisian. I mean, there's so many different ones. So and if you look, a lot of the separations between those types are culturally based. There's small things within each one, but on a grander scale, they're pretty much almost the same thing. It's just how each tribe does it, each culture does it. So don't think that you have to choose one or the other, but if you feel like you have to, go with what your ancestral lineage is. And I think that'll have a much stronger impact, at least guiding you down where you need to go, because it is an ancestral path. A lot of people forget that, and it's culturally based.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. I was just going to say, like, which can also be, I think, like, challenging or intimidating for some people. They're like, well, where do I start? Ancestor veneration. There's a lot of cultures that already have that in place. I mean, Germanic paganism isn't the only one. You know what I mean? It's not an uncommon theme, or it's not an uncommon practice to venerate the ancestors in some sort of way. Like you say, each culture does it a little bit differently, but it's not an uncommon thing at all.
That's correct.
Another thing I'd like to add for new folk coming in, as far as a piece of advice, I know it may be hard at times, but leaving that old baggage behind. When you're coming into something, you don't have to find parallels or apply what you previously believed to what you now believe or are pursuing in your faith or faith system or beliefs, because a lot of them aren't going to be parallel. It just doesn't work like that. That's where we get the adage, a difference of beliefs. So when you come in with an open mind, an open heart, and an open spirit to something new, and try to leave some of that baggage behind. I know it's hard, especially if you've practiced a faith for years, decades. It's going to be hard to leave some of those teachings and trainings and knowledge that you've acquired over that time behind, but it'll do you some good to start fresh and start with a clean slate when you come in.
That's a good point. You say like baggage and stuff. For those of us that haven't always been pagan, those of us that haven't like started from birth or were raised from our childhood, like I came from adopting worldviews of Christianity, and so when I came to heathenry, it was like you say, trying to find those comparisons or trying to change your worldview. Like Eric's saying, it takes time. Don't rush into it. And me, I've only been at this for about 6 years or so, trying to learn as much as I can. So compared to like Matt or Eric or Dingo and Night Shayde and would be considered like the youngest of the bunch. So much to learn, so much to pick up on. And I think that's an important thing too, is that when you are approaching a new path, when we say like, don't let anybody tell you how to heathen, I think there's a fine line between that and also accepting information and accepting guidance from those who know what they're talking about, right? It's different from being like preachy. Like we're not preaching to people. It's like there's information, there's knowledge, there's things to share that are going to help you develop your way of doing it, and you can learn from that. So don't think that it's just all willy-nilly out here, everybody doing their own thing. There is some organization. I think Eric, you did a video recently about organization and structure within heathenry, there's absolutely that. I mean, just because it's heathenry, just because we're pagans, doesn't mean that we're all just flying by the seat of our pants here,
Exactly. The pagans of Iceland formed the first parliament in the world. There is structure, there is organization, a good set of guidelines to go by, I think. But it's not so policed as you would see in other faiths or the Abrahamic religions.
Yeah, because it's non-dogmatic, right? I mean, there's no consequence for not doing it this way, or not reading this stanza, or not quoting that Edda, or you know what I mean? Like, what's going to happen if you don't read Egil's saga? Nothing.
It
You know
really
what
is
I
a
mean?
faith of responsibility.
Right. Which goes back to worldview, right? I mean, there's things about our deeds and the things about our actions that carry on through even after we're physically gone, right? So the deeds that we do now, what responsibilities, what obligations we have now, are we're doing them in here and now, for the here and now, but also for the hereafter, for what comes after, for those who come after us, right? For our descendants. At least that's kind of how I look at it. I don't know how everybody else.
I mean, in addition, don't go along just to get along. Don't jump on a bandwagon because everybody else is doing it. That's why I said learn from multiple sources and start fine tuning and honing in what you think you believe in. And it's okay to be wrong. If you're wrong, you're wrong. I mean, and there are differences of opinion. You know, there are things I disagree with Eric and Jesse. And these two were the cornerstone of my heathenry when I started out. And, you know, there may be difference of opinion how we view things, but hey, it's all in good faith. But just don't stop learning, because the second you do, you're done that quick. And the biggest thing within heathenry is your hearth and home. You got to get your home in order to progress, because however you see the gods and goddesses, however you think they interact with us or not, the main thing is that if your home is out of whack, your tribe is going to be out of whack, your community is going to be out of whack, you're going to be out of whack. It's all
Absolutely.
about oneself.
Hearth, clan.
Speaking of hearth and home, I've got to go video chat and say goodnight to my little girl, and I'll be back in a little bit.
Sure thing. We'll be here.
All right.
I did.
Oh,
go ahead,
sorry.
Eric. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll get it in a minute.
No. Night Shayde, you hit on one of the things that was, I just, as far as for newbies go, is something that I find is extremely helpful in that whole it's okay to be wrong aspect. One of the things that I see a lot of newbies end up with is the feeling that they need to read everything. They need to absorb everything because they have to do it right. And they are afraid to jump in and do any kind of worship or any kind of ritual or anything like that, or go to a big event because they don't feel like they can contend with the big boys, as it was. Don't let that go. It's okay. That's where you learn. They say that heathenry is the religion with homework. Yeah, okay, it is. But basically all of them are homework based.
What isn't?
Yeah, you have to
religion
have it.
isn't.
But the biggest thing is doing. You will learn far more from going to a group and actually watching them go through it than you will reading 12 books on bloat. And I don't care what historical studies you read, whatnot. You will see what works in action and what doesn't work for you in action, and build from that. So embrace action and doing. Absolutely do some reading. Absolutely examine it, look into it, if that's the way that you learn. But not everybody learns the same way. So figure out how you learn, embrace that, and just go ahead and do some stuff, especially in the hearth and the home. Figure out your hearth culture, and then you'll be more comfortable in a public setting.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
anyway.
And to those who aren't around, it's okay to heathen alone. There's no problem with that. You can do the stuff by yourself. You know, nothing says that you have to be part of an all thing for a disabloat or disting, however one views it. Who says you have to do that? Yeah, historically it was done that way, but some people don't have that opportunity to do it. So don't feel like you have to belong. And if you don't belong to a tribe, then you're not really a heathen. Nowhere. And I don't think anybody on here will tell you that you have to belong to a tribe in order to be considered a real heathen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of nuances to heathenry that, I mean, like you guys both already touched on, the hearth cult. A lot of folks that I talk to who include historical reconstructionist type heathens will say, you know, here's the one big thing that newbies, when they come to, well, which god should I sacrifice to? How should I sacrifice to which god, goddess, whatever? They're so focused on the gods. A lot of the stuff that I hear from some pretty hardcore recons is that don't worry about that. Focus on your hearth cult. Worry about your ancestors. Make sure that your roof tree is sound. Make sure that everything under your home is in order before you worry about some things that are outside of the realm of where you reside. Because that's where it needs to start, and that's where the groundwork needs to be laid first.
Exactly. Not to worry so much on the terminology. And I know Jesse and Eric, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's, people they get caught up in the terminology and they're like, oh, I don't know where I belong. Man, just shut up and learn. That's all you can do is just learn, stay quiet, and better yourself so you can present yourself better as a heathen.
I love that.
Oh,
That
sorry,
theme
go ahead.
here has kind of shifted a little bit to experience. It's such a huge part, even if you're experiencing for yourself alone by yourself, like Night Shayde had mentioned, and that's totally fine. But reading is great, and you could read a dozen wilderness survival books. You could read those books cover to cover, but then you go out to practice that skill, that craft, that knowledge that you've acquired, and you find yourself in a rainstorm. And now none of these things apply the same way as what you read. So you have to find a new way to do it, a different way to do it, a way that works, given the circumstance, given the situation. So experience, get out and experience your faith. You can't just read it all.
True.
Yeah.
I want to throw a different perspective because the reason why I'm here and everything is, I follow a completely different path, which is my own. And I think it's important to also like meet friends and get to know people because you never know what's kind of conversation you're going to strike up and get to know someone from a different faith, and like Jesse and I, for example, I don't think I would be in this conversation if it hadn't been for meeting and getting to know him and sharing our different beliefs. Because even though we're very different, I've learned a lot, and he's learned a lot too, and it helped builds friendship. And I think that is important too in some ways, especially if you're new and you're want to get out there. I know it's there's some people that have said in this conversation that said that like maybe it's important to kind of stay back and just let everybody do everything. But I think also it's important to just engage, and just talk, and because you never know what kind of good conversation you might get into, and you might really learn something,
Sure.
So
Yeah, like community, everybody's an individual, and like Richard said, the friendship that him and I have established has grown over the years. We wouldn't just like meet each other and be like, hey, I like this, you like this, let's be friends. It kind of evolved and grew naturally. There was no rush, there was no push to it. And over that time, our friendship has developed into a sort of kith relationship.
Yeah.
I feel like we're an extension of each other's family. Like I can trust him, he can trust me. There's that mutual trust thing. I think there's a level of frith between us that we know that I can rely on him, he can rely on me, and if we need each other, we're there for each other. So frith has been established through our friendship over the years, and it started off with something that we really didn't have, like, again, religiously or spiritually. Like, just because he's what he is and I'm what I am, the label, it transcends it, because we are people and we connect on a deeper level in that. So it's a good thing to keep in mind too. Like, don't worry about the label. Like you were saying, I think Night Shayde said it right. Forget the labels, forget the, am I a Germanic pagan? Am I an Anglo-Saxon, a heathen? Am I a, Celtic, whatever? It's, you're a person, you're a human, and you just so happen to be following or learning about a religious path that is whatever, regionally, culturally based. So somebody had, who was it? I think it was the Taurus system earlier had asked. I wanted to touch on this. I'm not sure if any of you other guys had have noticed or run across this. He was asking what my thoughts were on this the Declaration of Deeds. That was it's a new you got everybody think here is familiar with Declaration 127. That was, I think, developed by, it was the Troth or one of the other bigger organizations, but the Declaration of Deeds. I did a podcast about it. I think it was last week. My response to it. Anybody else here familiar with it? Eric or Josh? Anybody? No.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, and I don't get into these types. I mean, I did the podcast with my response on it, but I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it. It's a great declaration. It's worded well. Bayefeld, the guy that wrote it, if you listen to his voice, he's got just the most awesome sounding voice to listen to. I mean, you could listen to the guy read the telephone book, and probably get some enjoyment out of it just because of his tone and everything. So I mean, it sounds great, looks great. Is it really doing anything overall for heathenry as a whole? I don't really think so, because it Eric, we talked about this in another conversation outside of this with some of your folks, and it added some insight, I think, that I was able to build off of. It's like, what does it really do for heathenry as a whole?
Right. It feels good. It's one of those things that it's a big flashy thing that everybody can sign on and say, "Hoorah, my name's on it. I back this." But really, I mean, it in and of itself doesn't change or do anything. That has to happen from the grassroots side of things. As you guys know me as a grassroots heathen guy. Yeah, it's all fine and good, but I'm much less worried about who has signed this online thing or who backs this online thing. And I'm much more interested in what people are actually doing and showing deed and action. And that's just kind of my approach.
Which is ironic, if that's the right word to use, that it's a declaration of deeds, and they're all about, in that declaration, if you read it, it's like, well, we are our deeds, deeds. Okay, now where do we show it? Like, how do we, you know what I mean? Like, what's actually being done?
Right.
Singing this is a great song now that's danced,
wrong with it. It's
no, I'm not saying there is at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like the 9 noble virtues. Cool that it's a thing. Happy if it helps you out, but I mean, it's just a tool. I mean, it's just kind of a thing. So,
right. Yeah, it's a thing. Everybody take a shot whenever Eric says it's a thing.
Don't do that, you'll die. You will die.
It'll test your
I will be right
your
back.
voice.
Yeah, I have been told it's a thing. Big UPG warning. Oof da. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. These are all shot worthy, and if you do the drinking game, you will die. I promise you.
Guys, we're gonna have a lot of fun.
I've got some stickers for you. Speaking of that, Eric.
Yeah, he does.
I saw those. Cool. I saw the designs that you were kicking up. That's pretty wicked. I love it. I love it. I need an "It's a Thing" on my truck.
Right. Oh, I got you, man. I'm going to ship it to you soon. Just send me your address.
PO box. I'll get you.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't forget "Not My Hall, Not My Call."
Nah, my hall, not my call. My absolute favorite.
Yeah, right. For everybody at home, like,
I use that.
That does be wicked.
That's awesome.
your call.
Hell yeah.
There it is.
That's what I'm talking about.
You were just asleep. I'm sorry.
Matt's reminding everybody, drink your water, stay hydrated. I'll tell you what, that's mostly what I've been drinking. For everybody that knows anything about me, that's watched my content, that knows me in person or through long distance, knows that I am a Scotch drinker, and have been for a long time. And I haven't had a drop of alcohol since the 3rd of this month. And I won't
But
have.
you're on that insane cleanse thing. How are you not dead?
How do I what?
I said, how are you not dead? You've been on that insane cleanse thing now for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I've got 1 week left. And the last day is next Wednesday. So I'm finally in like the single digit days where I'm counting it down. I'm like,
Let me ask you a question, Jesse. Really, seriously. When was the last time you ate solid food?
Oh, I'm eating solid food every day. It's just that the solid food that I'm eating is like fruits and vegetables, and I'm getting really sick and tired of fruits and vegetables. I'm like, I got these incisors for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Man needs a steak.
4 days.
Every time you make a Facebook post, I feel your pain.
yeah, you're living vicariously through my discomfort. Is that it?
Yeah, I'm just like, God, it hurts.
Yeah.
I've got a shot of a 16-year Lagavulin for you when you get out of it.
I better get more than a shot. No, it's fine. But a shot is good. But if it's
I
a
got
16 year, I will
half a
enjoy that
Bacon.
shot for sure.
Bacon.
Oh yeah, dude. It's I've got to be careful though because of the way this diet has been. You know, I've got such a restricted diet that if I just like go a complete 180 and start eating just like any and everything at once, I'm probably just gonna twist my gut into a mess. So
Your system's going to go into complete shock.
yeah, I'm like, I want to eat all these things at once, but then I'm thinking that's not gonna turn out so well, I don't think, for my mechanics inside. So we'll gradually reintroduce things, I think is the wise approach. But yeah,
Yeah.
for everybody that's still on and watching, I want to remind you that we do have the giveaway towards the end of the live stream, probably within like the last 45, 30 minutes or so, because we've got the decals. We've got some decals that I believe Dingo and with help from Tiffany, who's moderating the chat, we're able to make up. They are packets of Midgard Musing logo decals and some other like Vegvisir or Vulcanite decal stuff to go. Like, was it on your car?
There you go.
Yeah. Matt's got the Mjolnir thing, the Mjolnir necklace that he hand carved. It's a wooden Mjolnir pendant necklace. That's going to be a giveaway item. JM Olofsson has generously offered 3 handmade rune sets from various woods. What were the wood selections that they're going to be? Then again, Jan, what was is a cherry and something else?
There's a rum cherry, black locust, and birch.
Nice.
I don't have a rune set from you yet. I need a rune set from you.
Volunteer.com.
No, I'll get there. Throw in some links.
Yep. So yeah, so that's going to be those are going to be some prizes, and we've got a couple of ways of determining winners. We're going to be doing some trivia. I've got, for Matt's prize, I've got a very special kind of unique question, and it's a you know, it's a little bit different. So you guys make sure you stick around, and if you want more people involved, please invite them in and let them know what's going on. So yeah, hopefully this has all been really helpful. Thank you all again for offering like your insight. You know, keeping it simple, following your gut, learn as much as you can, and make friends along the way, and the right
I got
friends. You
something
know,
to add.
don't rush into things. Matt, please, yeah.
Your altar, it does not have to be big and flashy. It can be something you drew, something you made yourself. You do not have to go out and spend a butt ton of money. I know I'm telling you not to buy from me, and I mean it. It does not have to be big and flashy. It can be something you drew, a rock you found that just wanted to come home with you. It's yours. It doesn't matter. It's yours. Make it this for your
It
altar.
can be a sandy spot in your front yard.
Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
Rock outside in your backyard, a tree, you know. And I like how, you know, that is I think one of the things that I see a lot from newcomers is that, you know, well, how do I assemble my altar? How do I put my altar together? Well, okay, first of all, you don't have to have one. It is a great physical representation, a focal point of your sacred space, something you can like physically focus on for your practices, your ritual, whatever it is that you want to do. And it can be, like I said, as basic. And I mean, when I first started and when I assembled my altar, it was certain things that meant something to me. I had an acorn. I still have an acorn that represented Thor. You know what I mean? I had an antler from a deer that represented Freyr, you know, for me, things like that, nature items, things that just represented something. I didn't always have god poles or things like that. And there's still a lot of things that are on my altar that are not on anyone else's. So it's like Matt said, you know, it didn't have to be big or flashy. I think it was Travis in the chat said earlier that, you know, he's got a big and flashy altar. He's also been at this for, you know, 20 or 30 years. So over time, things are going to evolve. You can make it what you want it to be. And I think it'll also change depending on your approach to things. You know, like my altar hasn't stayed the same for very long during my path. It constantly, you know, things get moved, things get adjusted, things get added, things maybe getting moved for whatever reason. So it's like a living thing. There's always change going on with it.
And you can have more than one altar. You can have miniature altars throughout the house. I mean, it really doesn't matter. And that's the same thing that fellow Tradwich has always come to me and ask, you know, do you do the flashy, you know, ceremonial magic, high magic? No, mine is low magic, plain and simple, spell work done in 5, 6, 7 minutes. Done. And it's just as powerful as something. I'm not a ritualistic person, but even my own heathen altar, I have 15 altars in one room, just heathen base for different deities and things of this nature, plus a working table if I utilize Sather within my heathen practice, which I do all the time. So you don't, and it doesn't have to be stationary. It could be a fold up little box that you put away. You know, it could be so simple. But honestly, in my opinion, the best altar is when you walk outside your door and you go to a tree, you go to a rock, you go to a stream. They got the Landvatir, all them, they're there. You know, so
Right.
you don't have to have a big monolithic type of altar.
Yeah, we've got 3 altars in the house, one to Husvatir, one to the ancestors, one to the gods and goddesses. Oh, I have a 4th one for those that followed me. I lost my job up there at the boys' home, and my office Vatir followed me home, so he's got an altar here in the house too. But then we've got our Vey outside, and that's my big flashy with the stone altar and the big surround sound. But surround sound, you know what I mean?
Surround sound. Yeah. Dolby Digital.
Surround sound of
Dolby Digital.
nature. Yeah, right. Nature's surround sound. But yeah, ours have grown and developed over the years to be just really kind of cool little villages in and of themselves. And I've got all kinds of things that people have given me over the years as gifts that I include in there. My ancestors' altar has got all kinds of knickknacks that I've gotten from family members that have passed. So absolutely, your altar is going to look the way that it looks for you, and it should take time to develop. It doesn't need to be flashy right off the bat. It doesn't need to be expensive. It needs to be heartfelt. It needs to mean something to you.
Yeah, and I want to piggyback on the references to getting outdoors, the nature aspect. The greatest growth you're going to see is organic growth. Let it be organic. Don't force your practice. Mirror that organic growth that you see when you go out. Let it come natural. And it does grow and build over time, as it should. Naturally. You don't have to have a checklist of things to include on your altar. You don't have to have this. You don't have to have that. Let it come to you as the rain comes to the plants, as the sun comes to the plants, as nest comes to the trees. Let it come to you and build on that over time.
Yeah, you know, you were talking about going outside in nature and everything. On that same thought, as far as beginners go, like my 5-year-old daughter Kaya, she's got this tree in the apartment complex that I live in, and she's loved it since she was a baby. And even to this day, every time she passes by the tree, she gives it a hug. And that's become kind of an altar to her because of what it means. It's a grounding experience for her, and it's something that's always been there her entire life. You know, it's her favorite tree. And even on as basic a level as that, with no terms or, you know, any kind of reference put to it, it's a safe space, you know, and she understands that on some innate level.
I think that's great. You know, paganism is it's nature based. I think no matter what culture you talk about, no matter what part of the world you go to, there's a love and appreciation, and there's a level of sacredness, I think, to nature. You know what I mean? Because you've got these other beings and other living beings, the Vatir, the whites, whatever we want to call them, the Fae, if you will, if you're into that. They exist with us. We are in their space, they're in our space. We coexist. So having that sort of harmonious existence together, not just in our home but outside the home as much as we can, is, I think, of vital importance to our growth as pagans, whichever path we decide to follow. And even if you're not pagan, like Richard over there, just I think his appreciation and love for life and nature in general is conducive with his practices, at least so far as I've been able to determine, Richard, with us talking in our talks and things. It's a common ground.
Oh yeah. One of the things I'm starting to get a little bit involved in and researching more, I don't know a whole lot of it, just maybe some basic level, is crystal magic. Like I've always done things innately, but I've never done crystal magic. And right now I'm drawn to amethysts and things like that.
I have a few of those on my altar.
I have a really big one that's like a wand.
Oh, nice. Mine are just little chips.
A friend of mine got me curious about Lemurian quartz. That's an odd one. If you're getting into like crystal magic and things like that.
Okay.
That's kind of a neat segue, because like part of the discussion I wanted to add, I think everybody really likes to talk about some of the more mysticism elements of our path, or the magical elements, some of which probably touches on shamanistic work, which I know Josh and Matt and others here maybe have, this Dingo especially, like these are all things that have been a part of their particular pagan practice. Me, a little bit over time. I've not really, my stuff is mainly rune work, rune magic, rune stuff, which has some elements of there's obviously magical elements to that, but I wanted to talk about that a little bit and just kind of have an open discussion. Is it as important in heathenry as people may say? Should it be something that's focused by certain specific ones? Does everybody feel the need? Like I've seen this a lot too, like people coming into heathenry. Oh, I got to learn the runes. I got to learn what the runes mean. I got to learn how to use the runes, this and that. No, not necessarily. There's people for that. There's roles for that. So I kind of wanted to like open up the floor for people's ideas and discussions about, the inclusion and the involvement of that types of things, or those types of things in heathenry nowadays, and where the importance lies and how we can incorporate it. JM, you want to start, since you're the shaman of bird dips, and we can kind of go from there?
Sure. I had mentioned briefly before that connecting with nature is really connecting with kindred spirit. It's cross-cultural. It transcends religion. We're of the earth, part of the earth. And that's something that everybody can level on. We're dependent on what provides us sustenance. And that's the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, the plants, the animals, everything. We're a part of that. So if you can find a way to connect to that, that's connecting to kindred spirit, whether you have kindred with other human beings or not, that's always going to be there. It's that core. It's not even humanity, but just being. It doesn't matter your faith. It doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't matter your interest. That's something that's so common ground that we all share. And that's one thing that we can always depend on to have in common and bring us together. Connecting to that kindred spirit of the earth from whence we all came.
like Jord, right? Jord, in the mythology, Thor's mother, Jord. She's mother to us all as well because she's the earth.
Great. And I think that a lot of people kind of pass over Nerthus as an entity, as a deity. A lot the same way that Forseti gets kind of snuffed in the shadow of Tyr. Nerthus is what gives us the gifts of the land and that sustenance, the harvest, the crops, and good fortune. That finding that bushel of berries or whatever in your foraging.
Yeah, I remember learning a little bit about Nerthus, and I want to say I can't remember if it's Sweden or where in Scandinavia had a very prominent role in the cultural religious aspects. There was priests that would part the statue of Nerthus through the town at certain times or whatever, and there was linguistically or etymologically speaking, I think there's at least been talk of its of Nerthus's name being tied to the fertility aspects, the agricultural things like you're talking about, the bounty of the land, the earth, that sort of thing.
Yeah, Nerthus was more mainland Europe.
That's right.
The Nerthus processional that you referenced there is one that is a key example of a processional and how a processional can be used in ritual. So that's anybody that's looking into like processionals and stuff. Nerthus is a great one to study. What they would do is they would take the idol from this island, the shrine on this island where it lived. The priest would take it out and put it in a cart and then carry it throughout the countryside from village to village. And then they would give offerings to this idol. And then the cart that it was on, everything would be taken back to the island and those offerings would be bogged. And then the idol would be interred again in the shrine until the next coming year when the processional would come again. And that was one of their seasonal festivities. And that's an excellent one. I actually know a guy in Texas who did a Nerthus processional with an idol strapped to a 16-foot bed trailer and towed it around Texas. It's really cool.
Wow. That would be neat to see.
I'm going to chime off of what JM was saying when he talks about nature and things. To me, that just screams energy, and that's a big part of my beliefs. Energy could be anything, and how we act to different types of energy, and crystals give off a certain energy, and different things like that. So it's all energy to me. If you want to get down to any more basic level.
Yeah. Like you said, like same mirroring the same emotions or the same concepts, just calling it different things, like what Jan was saying. Being, not just necessarily humanity. You're saying energy, being, it's life.
I mean, as somebody who's only been doing this for 3 years, learning the runes is great. They are very powerful. However you see them, some say they're magical, and others say no. There's just a way of to formulate a language. I see them as both. I am one to see the elder Futhark to be more magical compared to the younger Futhark, which is more to create a language base. I could be wrong in that, but that's just kind of how I've seen it. And I've used rune magic, and like I said, practicing traditional witchcraft for 32 years. This is something that's just natural for me. But learning the runes, I mean, if you learn just like one rune a month, unless you're trying to get into scholarship and you're trying to be like a Jackson Crawford and a lot of these other ones that are trying to, that's way above my head. I'm not that smart. So I can't figure out Old Norse, and you don't have to learn Old Norse either. But the key about witchcraft, what is witchcraft? It's a tool, it's a trade, it's a skill, it's an art, it's the manipulation of energy. That's really what that is. And I think the first and foremost that, like I said beforehand, for newbies, is you have to focus on yourself. You got to get yourself straight, what you believe, and don't jump on just because somebody else is doing it. Don't say, oh, well, everybody does, Yule on this date. which historically proven it's not done on that date. But they jump on that because they don't know any better. Well, don't just use that as a platform to just be lazy and not actually go in and actually study the historical evidence of it. So if one actually wants to start learning different forms of Sather or magic, well, you know, there's not a whole lot in Eric. You could correct me if I'm wrong. There's not a whole lot on the Sather practices of whether it's the Norse or the Germanic tribes or whatever. So you can set that aside and actually start doing more of traditional witchcraft, things of this nature. But if you're trying to get into Sather as a heathen, from my experience, there's not a whole lot on it, and you're going to be kind of lost in it.
Yeah, one of the key things there is that most of the magic that we see, actually, if you're going from like the source materials, a lot of the magic we see comes from the finished side of things. Most of the magic users in the sagas are Finnish witches and magicians that are usually up to no good. But keep in mind who actually wrote this stuff down in the time period that it was written down. There's a lot of demonization of magic use. So yeah, there's not a whole lot. There's a lot that's going on right now as far as the recreation of Shayde work. For those that are interested in the divinational and kind of weird reading aspects of Shayde work, I highly recommend Kari Torin's work. She's got a lot going on out there. She does a lot of research into ritual dance and historical dance, singing, rhythmic style of work, a lot of altered state of consciousness through rhythm and dance. And she's an excellent Shayde, and I've worked with her personally in the past and can highly recommend her. She's very, very smart. And this gives a great segue into where I was going to come at with the whole mystical side of things. There's the human need to codify. We feel like we need to plug in to one of these systems and call it like I'm a runester, or I'm a Shayde worker, or I am, hold on, chat's telling me to spell her name. It's Karitauring, Kari Toring. So I'll type it out in the chat here in a minute. But anyway, the big thing that I see as far as magic and its actual integrated work is the little magics, the small magics, the kitchen witches, the dreamers, the wise women who just know things, those that have the knowing, which are all branches of these more, official studied magical systems. My thing has always been that magic is a method like science that we use to integrate and work with the world around us. It's working with the unseen energies that people don't necessarily understand in the same way, but it still operates by its own metaphysical rules. It's a science in and of itself. And in that, it is a tool. We work with the same world that other cultures do. So some people express issues with like cultural appropriation within magical systems. And it would be kind of like saying there's cultural appropriation within science. The magic is the tool by which you work with the unseen and the elements, the nature, the energy around you, how you channel, focus, understand, interact with those things. And it doesn't matter where that comes from. Again, with Egil Saga on the whole, wisdom is wisdom regardless of its source. That's the way these kind of tools work. So it's perfectly fine in my book for a heathen to do tarot or to read the I Ching. You are interacting with the world around you, whether you're reading weird or if you're working with spirit energy, which I do differentiate between the two. It's all part of the kind of spiritual and cultural side that goes along with heathenry, because I break down the religious element, the cultural element, the spiritual element, and the philosophical element if you've watched my most recent video. But the big thing is embrace the small magics, embrace the cooking with love. One of our dear friends is very much a kitchen witch, and I love watching her do stuff because she's constantly going into different roots or different little spell things that she does, little traditions, and she's constantly learning and doing stuff, and it's really cool. And my significant other explores with a lot of those kind of little daily magic things, and those are integral. Back in the day, they weren't even thought of as magic. They were just things they did. And so it's our modern need to codify that we slap these labels onto it. So now embrace it. It's a part of the cultural element. And if that's part of your hearth culture, then absolutely go for it and integrate it and make it part of your daily life.
Yeah, that's cottage witchery. I mean, vacuuming, dusting, sewing, ironing, laundry, that's cottage witchery. Even kitchen witchery is a part of that. So things that we do naturally, like cleaning your bathrooms or doing laundry, those could be turned into magical practices without you ever knowing it. Cleansing a house, things like that, through floor wash. I mean, I practiced Haitian Fudo for many, many years. But I think one of the biggest dangers people will have is exactly what kind of Eric skimmed over really quickly. I saw that with the cultural appropriation thing. Um, I would suggest people should learn before you start debating things like that, because it can really tear you down. And I was one that practiced many magical systems from Haitian Voodoo and other things where I was actually over there learning and practicing for years at a time. And I did it for so long, never saw it as cultural appropriation. And then one day it clicked. And that's when terms like pagan and who can practice paganism or based on their ancestral lineage and culture comes in. And it's going to be inevitable. New beginners are going to fall into this. And they're going to have to learn real quick that you better figure out where you stand. If not, it's going to cause a lot of problems. I've seen a lot of heathens go at each other for honestly no reason, but the old ways are returning. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I like how the emphasis or the focus that you're talking about, that magic can be in a lot of things that you do from the day to day to what seemingly may be, mundane tasks, right? Our relationship with the localized, whether it be the house whites, the Hisvatir, the Oath God, whatever name you want to put to them, by doing the things that we're talking about, cleaning and whatever, like that's makes for a happy home, but it also makes for happy Husvatir. You know what I mean? So that the spirits that we coexist with are going to be happier. Therefore, our lives in general are going to be more pleasant, we would hope. And so there's magical elements to that. Things that would probably just get classified or looked at as like, well, that's your, can you really base that on anything historical? I don't know. I don't think so. But there's a lot of folklore. There's a lot of localized customs and things that I think you can reference in certain regions that support what we're talking about here when it comes to the magic in doing things that are seemingly mundane. Eric, you had talked about in one video and over time, I can't remember. There's a particular book about either the Landvitir and the Husvitir or the the one I'm talking about.
Yes, The Tradition of Household Spirits by Claude Lecoteau.
Yeah, that's the one. I have yet to read that, but I've seen like clips and excerpts and stuff from it, and it looks like a really good resource to
for those that haven't looked into it yet. The book is called The Tradition of Household Spirits, and it is not explicitly heathen, but it is very heathen in its approach to things. And it does explore a lot of heathen elements to just house spirits, the spirit of the house, interaction with spirit of the house, everything down to rituals in the building of the house, incorporating runic structures into the timbers and the construction of the house, how to gift with Husvetir, all of that stuff. It's an exceptionally good book. His works are kind of hit and miss. Some of his works are really good. He really gets it. Some of them are kind of off base from what I can find. But this is one of his titles that I very much recommend, and I'd say, hey, check this book out.
Yeah, thank you for that, because I just looked it up and I posted in the live chat for anybody interested the Amazon link to the book. But yeah, The Tradition of Household Spirits, Ancestral Love and Practices, I think is it. So that's the one, and that's down there in the live chat for anybody wanting to look at it.
Well, it's kind of interesting that this is brought up, that like I said that I've been practicing for 20 years earlier, and I've actually been practicing for much longer because my mom was, she always had ancestral shrines or like offerings of nuts or berries or herbs or whatever. And she was always making teas and tinctures and potpourris and everything. And, you know, she has several gardens on her property and they all have a different meaning. They're all a different shrine. And so for me, it was kind of strange to, as I grew up and realized that it wasn't a normal thing to have grown up with the knowledge of plants, medicine, and the reverence of ancestral spirits or land spirits. You know, like we would always make offerings to the fairies, my mom would say, things like that. You know, like you have to make offerings to the Vatir in order to make things happy in the home, you know. And so that's just kind of been my entire life, even though I grew up in a Christian household. That element was always present, and it was, you know, kind of hidden in a way, you know, but it meant a lot to me.
Yeah, and even like, so like Dingo, you were talking earlier about how your daughter, you know, has that little thing that she does with the tree that she loves so much. You know, there's some magic elements to that too. Yes, it's nature, yet, but you know, just that innate desire or connection that she feels, and the ritual that she has whenever she passes it to acknowledge it in a loving way. You know, like there's magic in that, and it doesn't have to be this, you know, flashy, big long ritual that's, you know, whatever, light all these candles, do all this stuff. It could be the little things. So it doesn't have to be so elaborate. Magic can be seen and found in so many things.
It was even as simple as like, you know, rosemary in the dish for the night or something like that. There's that elemental magic side of that into something as simple as cooking a meal.
Yeah, and I, you know, thinking about like terms and the way things were, you know, in old times versus now, you know, what witchery was, what witchcraft was. You know, it was like, I'm just trying to cook some herbs here, man, and you think I'm a witch or whatever, and they want to, you know, bring harm onto people because it could have just
Right.
been this woman, you know, making a dye for her dress or doing laundry and using
Well, you know,
herbs
and
and
what they
stuff to.
call, you know, like what they called green magic, or, you know, like witchcraft or whatever back in the day is like botany today, basically, right? You know,
Right. Yeah.
knowledge of
Yeah.
plants
Absolutely.
and
Alchemy, whatever.
We're talking about when it's a tincture of, you know, herbs, oils, and you drink it for your health. Today we call it a smoothie.
Yes.
Right.
I like that.
right. It's a magic potion, right?
Something. I tell you what, because of this whole cleanse thing that I've been on, there's been some magical stuff happening in my digestive system. I'll just put it that way, because all of those, all of that green magic, right, that I've been involved in. Not the green magic, but you know, the leafy greens and that sort of thing. That kind of green magic. That's been doing something.
Yeah, it's been very fluid, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been very regular. We'll keep it that, you know, we'll put it that way. I've been very regular, you know.
I
Speaking
would
of,
say
like, you
welcome
know,
to my world, but I wouldn't want to wish that to anybody.
no, man. It's been a wild experience. What about like, what are our takes on, you know, when we talk about, you know, magical things? We're talking about a lot of like mundane stuff and where magic can be found. When we get into like some of like the Sather work, you know, some of the mysticism, you know, how much do you think is incorporating external aids for stuff like that? You know, can the same thing be achieved? And we'll just cut right to the chase, because I think, you know, when you're sober versus when you're not, and that sort of thing. Because I think there's enough insinuations and there's enough understanding that at least psychedelics, other external sorts of stimulants were used at some point to aid in some type of woo-woo stuff, you know what I mean, over the years. And where that kind of fits nowadays. You think you can get the same, we think we can get the same effects with and without.
I don't know.
I
For
think it really
me,
comes down to connection. You have magic in the sense that we've talked about thus far in, you know, the simple things, the everyday things, but then you have a difference in magic when there's a will, there's an intent to manipulate a course of events or to alter, change how things are going or may go, and the efforts made to do so. That's the magic I think most people are interested in. That's the draw, the sexism that's surrounded with magic work. It's that power that I can do something to make a difference. I can change things. And it comes down again to, I think Night Shayde had mentioned kitchen witchery and little things like that, but it's the connection, it's the experience. It's, if you look at a bowl of sugar and a bowl of salt, they look the same, but unless you have the ability to taste and have that experience in cooking, your cookies may come out like shit, depending on which one you've chosen to use.
No, absolutely. I've always said that the greatest tool a witch can have is themselves, their intuition, their ability to sense, even if they may be deaf or blind or, you know, taste deaf or however they want to call that. Your greatest tool is you, and whether that's in ritualistic practice or honoring the gods and goddesses or the vitir, things like this, you yourself. You don't need all the external stuff. You find that a lot of times in Wicca, you need an athame. No, you can just use your damn finger. Okay, you know, you can pick up a twig. You can use rock. You know, use what's around you and focus and be appreciative of what you do have, and not focus on what you don't have or what you wish you had. This is the biggest thing people have is, oh, I'm not smart enough to talk to like Jesse and Eric or whomever, or I'm not magical enough to go hang out with it. No, man, learn, be appreciative of what you have. And if you want, if you believe in the gods and goddesses like I do, being able to respect yourself and being appreciative of what you do have and what you can give other people is far more worthy than any and all of the money and treasures in this entire world.
In
Jumping
shaman, you become the tool. It's a service to the community in which you're around. It's a service to those who seek it out, but you become the tool. You become the magic yourself. You make those connections, you work on that, diving into those relationships where you can access those knowledges that have been forgotten. And it's not at any fault other than our own as society. We've gone so far away from noticing differences in the soil, differences in the season, to having to look at our phone or a computer to tell us whether or not it's going to rain. It's nothing that anyone's done wrong, it's just progress. We've found more convenient ways in our busy lives to access what we need. The shaman still provides that, but in an older way, a more traditional way, I guess.
jumping in on the
Kinda like
tail of that, Jesse, you know, we absolutely, as far as the new ways to access the unseen and the hidden knowledge and the deeper ties, a lot of what I see as far as the discussions going with the use of psychotropics and such, with either divination work or with any kind of magical workings, the key element to it, which seemed to have been back then as well as it is now, is achieving the altered state of consciousness. Stepping into that, what I would call the sacred state of mind when we were doing ritual, or in that magical brain space when we're dealing with something in more of a magical save type working. It's a tool. It's a tool like anything else. It is a method of jumping past some doors that you may not have figured out how to open otherwise, but it is not the only way to achieve that same goal. I know people that achieve the same thing through physical exertion, through ecstatic dance, drum and rhythm work. There are fastings. Fasting can definitely lead you to an altered state of mind. Extended meditation can lead to an altered state of mind. Pretty much anything there, not anything, but there are a number of very effective ways to guided and willfully go to an altered state of mind, which will allow you to reach these doorways and these pathways. In instances where you're using like psychotropics and things like that, that is a method, and it's not necessarily an ineffective method. As we have entire decades worth of music to show us, it's actually highly effective in reaching that divine madness that is just on the other side of the door. But it is not the only way. There are very, very effective ways, and in the end, it's just a tool, same as any magical working, any like your blood bowl, your bloodtain, your horn and ritual. They're all just tools that are, guided. They allow you to guide the energies, hone the energies, and move the energies in the directions that you want to. But that it's trappings. You can do it without. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I agree 100%.
experience with
It really comes
psychedelics,
down to
it was like, I've been here before.
Ray Padera has a great
matter.
section covering this. It's called the Eightfold Path to Altered States of Consciousness, that covers the path of rhythm, where you're talking about music and beats, and it taps into that binaural beat and how it affects the brain, and it goes into fasting and just a ton of different ways. It has to work for you, because if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work, period.
That's very true. I mean, in over 3 decades of doing this, I don't do any of that stuff. For the newbies, point blank, you don't have to get fucked up. All right, you don't have to go out there and get high off of things, man. You don't need to do all that nonsense. I mean, I can't call it nonsense because it is effective, but I've never had to do any of that. And my head is concrete, right? Binary beats don't do jack crap for me. Right? Meditation don't do nothing for me. Why? I have aphantasia. A lot of people deal with this. So a lot of these altered states, a lot of people talk about it, and you have a lot of people, no matter what path, they just can't seem to do it. You know what? It's a trial and error. It's a trial and error. You want to start connecting on a deeper level. It could be just walking on a beach. It could be walking in a metropolitan area. You never know. At any point, you can reach, hopefully safely, the higher altered states. But you don't have to go and get drunk. You don't have to get high. You don't have to do any of this stuff. You don't have to have massive orgies and things like that's what a lot of people think paganism is, and it's not. Right? So
it is not eyes wide shut.
Yes, that's exactly right.
It has to work for you.
Yeah.
I don't care what works for anyone else. It has to work for you.
Good stuff. This has been awesome, guys. We're about 30 minutes into the we're about 30 minutes away, I guess you could say, from the top of the hour, and I want to give people plenty of time to get in on this giveaway. So for those that are wanting to participate, this is going to be a bit of a mix of trivia. The first thing that I want to do before we get into the trivia is I want to offer a giveaway for Matt's hand-carved Mjolnir necklace, the Mjolnir pendant thing. So this is going to be the first correct or closest to correct answer that comes into the live chat as soon as I ask it. So I have a 7 to 8 inch tall Thor altar piece, a Thor god pole. Like I say, he stands about 7 to 8 inches tall. And as many of you may know, and there's Matt's, there's the necklace, but as many of you may know that Matt, again, hand carves everything. There's no power tools that touch his handiwork. And the armor that his god poles, like Thor and any of the other gods that are wearing armor, Tyr, I think, has like armor on him. The armor, it looks like scales or chainmail type sort of thing, is created by using a tool and he pokes the armor into the wood to create this armor aesthetic. Okay. When he made my 7 to 8 inch tall Thor piece, he counted an exact number of pokes that exist on Thor's body. Okay. Now, I am looking for either the correct number of pokes or the closest number within 5 numbers. So if you get within 5 numbers of the correct answer, you're going to win the Mjolnir pendant. Okay. So again, the question is, how many pokes does Thor have on his armor from Matt? Total number. So we'll open that now, and you guys just start dropping numbers. And as soon as I see the number that is either the number or the closest number to it, we will get the winner announced. So Alex says 80. No. Wyatt says 307. No. You guys are cold, by the way. Connor says 69. Nice. Alexis 60. Nope. 568 scales. Russ, no, not close. 32. 69. Nope. 42 is the answer to all questions. It's a safe bet. Not for this one, Mr. Godfrey Bear. 30, not 307. Well, neither. You guys remember, he is at 7 to 8 inches tall. The pokes are very small. There's a lot of surface area to cover. Alex is 3 million. Now you're overshooting it. You went from one extreme to the other. I'll say this much. Connor says 27. So I'm going to say this much. Russ Ferguson at 568 is nowhere close, but he is the closest. So let's get somewhere to work off of from there, right?
This small one, it's 3 inches tall.
Yeah.
That's 352.
Okay, so there's a reference for you. The small pocket altars have 352 pokes. Alexa said 1,000. No. Connor says 617. You're getting closer. Closer, but not as close. Alexis is too far, and Connor's not close enough. 725. We're getting there. Come on, guys. Everybody. 1,078, Alex, too much. Wyatt says 650. Nope, not enough. Connor is getting progressively close, guys. Keep an eye. 750, Sandy. Nope, not quite. Oh, wait, Connor, 857. Alexa, okay. 870 is getting really close. Getting really close, Alex. 666, 905. So the last closest one was Alex at 870, guys. We're getting real close. 820, nope, getting colder. 999, too much. 900, 880, Connor. Stop the bidding. So there are 882 pokes on my 7 to 8 inch Thor. Connor Boran with 880 is the first closest one that came in within five numbers. So Connor is the winner of Matt's Mjolnir pendant.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Connor Boran. You can send me an email. I just put it in the live chat, midgardmusingstn@gmail.com with your information for shipping, and I'll make sure that Matt gets it. So the bidding is off now for that particular item. So Connor Boran, congratulations again. You won the hand-carved Mjolnir necklace that that Matt made, and we will get your details sent off to him, and he'll get that sent off to you. Just shoot me an email, midgardmusingstn@gmail.com, and we'll get that rolling. All right. I think the next few things we're going to do, Dingo, you said we've got how many packs of decals?
8.
Okay. So these are decals that can go on pretty much any
Pretty much
solid
anything.
flat surface, right?
Yeah. We got black, white, and they're all different. They vary. There's a few different versions.
All right.
I have the Midgard Musings logo, and
Yep. Got some like Vegvisir, I think, and Aegis-Hjalmar, some really cool like Nordic styles and things. Stuff that you can just slap on your car or slap
bumper
on someone's feet.
stickers, whatever.
Yeah. So
But
here's what
they're
we're gonna
all
do.
Vinyl decals.
All vinyl,
So
yes,
what-
vinyl decals. Okay, and now these items are courtesy of our moderator tonight, Tiffany, helped, and Dingo collectively, I guess, are part of this, are part of these items. So I want to thank Dingo and Tiffany specifically for providing these items for the giveaway. So we've got 8 packets of decals, vinyl decals to give away. Now this segment is going to be based on Midgard Musings trivia. So how well do you know what's going on here on Midgard Musings? First correct answer wins a packet. If you've already won a packet, commenting again will not get you 2 packets. We're going to kind of go through this and get everybody a chance. So there will be 8 different winners. Same rules apply. If you've won, if you answer correctly, that means you won a packet. Shoot me an email with your mailing address, and we'll get that information to Dingo and Tiffany to mail you the decals. Okay. All right. So here we go. Question number 1. How many times has Eric Sjerven and I collaborated on a video? Is it A, once, B, 6, C, 4, or D, twice? Now you can, put the number in the chat, or you can put the letter of the chat. So we'll just say, is it once, 6, 4, or 2? Alex Alex says C, which is 4. Alex, you are correct. Eric and I have collaborated 4 times on this channel. Alex, Alexides, is that what I'm saying it right? Yeah, you are correct. Eric and I have collaborated 4 times on this channel, so congratulations on winning a packet of decals. If you would please send me an email, MidgardMusingsTN, with your name and shipping address, and we will get those sent out to you soon. All right, next question. So Alex, you are out of the game. You can no longer answer these because we have 7 more packets to go. Question number 2, how many times have I been featured on the Flatline to Beatline podcast? Is the correct answer twice, 3 times, no times, 0, or once? So 0, 1, 2, or 4. Because that's what I said, right? Am I keeping track right? 0, 1, 2, or 4? Dolly Ferguson with the first correct answer, twice. Yes, you are correct.
That is correct. Episode 5 and episode 75. She is correct.
Yep, we got them here to confirm that. So Dolly, congratulations. You get the next packet of decals. Please email me with your name and shipping information. And all right, congratulations. The next question is, what is the name of the rune discussion mini-series on Midgard Musings? I did a series of rune topics of discussion, where we talked about the Elder Futhark runes. Okay. What is the name of that mini-series? We'll go with A, Rune Chats with Midgard Musings. B, 9 Pieces of 8. C, Mysteries of the Futhark. Or D, there is no mini-series. A, B, C, or D? Kylie Sullivan says 2. Sorry, not sure what that. 2 was the 9 Pieces of 8, which is correct. 9 Pieces of 8 is the runes discussion mini series here on Midgard Musings. If you haven't checked it out, feel free. I might revisit it at some point or do something different. But yes, the 9 pieces of 8 was the correct answer, which was option B or 2. So Skyly Sullivan is getting a packet of decals. So please email me at midgardmusingstn@gmail.com for the for your shipping details. So congratulations that is. Sorry, congratulations with that. All right, moving on. Question number 4. On March 26th, 2019, blank happened to me while I was live streaming on YouTube. So what happened to me while I was live streaming on YouTube, March 26th, 2019? Was it A, I bit my tongue? B, my dog started barking and interrupted the live stream? C, I was swatted or taken off camera in handcuffs by police? Or D, the live stream ended abruptly and I couldn't get it started again? Okay. Maggie Wolf. Wow. Maggie and Wyatt right at the same time, but Maggie is ahead of Wyatt on this one. Maggie, you are correct. I was swatted during a live stream. Cops
Jesse,
came. Yes.
Jesse, can I just say it's insanely hard to keep a straight face when you're going through some of these. And I'm sitting there going, don't give it away. Don't give it away. Don't give it away. And I'm watching everybody else in the chat do the same thing because you said this one and we all started laughing.
Yeah. That was quite the event.
That was a great live stream because I was right there watching it as it happened. I'm like, no, and we all knew that was. Oh,
and see, I got Twyla over here yelling answers in my ear because she can't get in the chat. I'm like, stop it! You can't win anyway. You're with me. Stop it. But she's like, I got this going, and I'm like, I can't answer you. They can see my face. It'll give it away.
I think the next day you had to invite me over for a drink after that.
Yeah, I was shaken about it, but it was like, did that really just happen? And fun fact, well, not so fun fact, but that wasn't the only time that it happened. That was the first time, but there was another time too. So Maggie is saying she's in the UK, and that Wyatt can have the post, can have it. Maggie, it's just, we can mail it to the UK. It's not a problem, so we'll hook you up. So if you wouldn't mind, just please send us an email, midgardmusingstn@gmail.com with those details, and we'll get it your way. We still got plenty of opportunities for Wyatt to jump in. That was really close though. Congratulations though, Maggie. All right, the next question is, what is the name of the mini series on Midgard Musings wherein I deliver my own spin on Norse mythology? Is it A, Norse Myths and Tales by Jesse? Is it B, The Amazing Sagas of the Norse Gods and Goddesses by Midgard Musings? Is it C, Froggy's Corner? Or is it D, there are no miniseries on the channel wherein I talk about the gods and goddesses and the myths and tales? All right, Janet King, C is correct. It is called Braggy's Corner. First correct answer from Janet King. Thank you, Janet. It is called Braggy's Corner. I haven't done one of those in a while, so might want to revisit that. Getting close there, Wyatt. Keep trying. So thank you, Janet. Shoot me an email with your, actually, I think I may have it, but in case I don't, or in case it's changed, please shoot me an email. And thank you for your constant support. All right, next question. Which Midgard Musings video has the highest number of views? Is it My First Video Ever, which is a deity discussion video? Is it the Asatru versus Heathenry video? Is it the How to Perform a Basic Heathen Ritual? Or is it the video that I got swatted on? So A, B, C, or D? Most number of views, highest number of views. So far, no correct answers. Good guesses, though. Okay, Alexis with the correct answer, C, yes. Also true versus heathenry. I believe it currently has 7,500 views, which is modest, but that is the highest viewed video on my channel right now. Also true versus heathenry. So congratulations, Alexis. Please shoot an email over to midgardmusingstn@gmail.com with your name and shipping address, and we will get those off to you. Next question. So that's how many now? How many do we have left, Dingo? We're keeping track, right? That's 6. That was 6, right? So we got 2 left. Am I counting right?
Sorry, I was muted. I got 2 left. Yep.
Great. Okay. So the next 2 questions. The ritual one, Wyatt, was the next closest one. I think that one's up there around the 6,000, 6,300 number or so. It is high up there. All right. 2 more questions. 2 more chances to win. Next question is on the Norse Blood July crate review video. What item did I put on my head thinking that it was something other than what it was? Was it A, a ritual rune casting cloth? Was it B, a bandana? Was it C, a fur? Or was it D, baseball hat? First correct answer gets the next packet of decals. So A, bandana, or A was a rune casting cloth, B was a bandana, C was a fur, and D was a baseball cap. Wyatt Coverdale with the first and only correct answer so far says A. Hopefully, well, you are A correct, because it was in fact a rune casting cloth. I thought that it was a bandana. And I actually have it over here off camera next to a table where I have like some other like heathen related stuff like my runes and things of that nature. So yes, it is a rune casting cloth. So congratulations, Wyatt. We'll need to get your, I think I still have your mailing address. So unless it's changed, make sure that I get it. No, I'm not going to give it to someone else. You won it fair and square. All right, last one. Last one we've got here, the last chance to win. Okay, which Norse god was featured in the very first deity discussion video? Was it A, Odin, B, Freyr, C, Tyr, or D, Loki? Very first deity discussion video on the channel. Which was the which deity, which god did I discuss? A for Odin, B for Freyr, C for Tyr, or D for Loki. This is for the last packet of decals. Fire away, everybody. Anybody that hasn't engaged in the chat just yet, you've got 1 chance left to win the decals. And I bet a lot of you are over there on my channel right now looking to see which one it is. So whatever it takes. The next giveaway that we're going to be doing are the 3 rune sets that JM Olofsson will be making out of rum cherry, birch, and black locust. And that giveaway is going to be focused around Norse mythology. So again, for the last decal giveaway, I need some folks to chime in. Which was the god that I first, which Norse god did I talk about on the first deity discussion video? A, Odin, B, Freyr, C, Tyr, or D, Loki? All right, Sandy BJ says Loki, and that is correct. That is the very first video that I did for the deity discussion series. and you win the final packet of decals. You play, you win. That's the rules, just like Eric said, you know. All right. So again, for everybody that has won the decals through the Midgard Musings trivia, thank you for participating. Please make sure that you email me at midgardmusingstn@gmail.com with the address that we need to ship these to, and we'll get them out to you as quickly as possible. So congratulations to everybody, and thank you all for participating. Now, I'm going to need some help here because we've got 3 rune sets to give away, and I've got just about 7 trivia answers for the rune set giveaway. So I'm not going to give you multiple choice on these. We're going to make this one a little bit more challenging. All right. So we're going to do, let's see how we can do this, how we can divide this up here. We're going to go through this. Let's see how we're going to do this. Guys, if you have any suggestions, we got 7 answers. We got 3 rune sets to give away. I want to give everyone a fair shot.
Thunderdome.
So what do you want to do? First 3 correct answers? Enter the Thunderdome. May the best person win. First 3 correct answers out of these random 7 questions. I'm going to randomize them.
Hell in the cell.
Not Miranda-ize. I'm not going to read you your rights. I'm going to randomize the questions here. Okay.
Buddy, roll a D8.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
So
So
here,
everybody roll a die 20, and whoever gets the highest number, that's the first one. There you go.
Roll for initiative.
Roll for initiative.
oh man.
Ask if they want to tell.
All right then. So if you win decals, we can't go again. I mean, it's I think this is open for everybody and anybody right now, because this isn't you know, we didn't want 2 people to get 2 packs of decals, right? But hey, it's open for everybody here. Okay.
Free for all.
Now, the first person to win the first round is going to get to choose which type of wood, right? Obviously, JM's only making 3 sets. One set is going to be made of birch. The other set is going to be made of black locust. The other set is going to be made of rum cherry. So, first, you know, bids are on the first winner. You know, second and third place get their second or third choice, and then the final person gets whatever's left. Does that sound fair, you guys? Sound like we can roll with that? I think that's a good approach. All right. I need the first correct answer. When Odin stole the mead of poetry, what is the alias or name that he adopted when he disguised himself? Not giving any hints, not giving any multiple choice. I need the first correct answer of the name or alias that Odin took when he stole the mead of poetry. So this is going to be a little bit tougher than the last game, the last trivia game. No multiple choice, no hints. You want that rune set, you got to know your mythology just a bit. So Connor says Cheryl. No. No, but good guess. I can imagine
name.
Cheryl.
That's funny. That's my mom's name.
Come on. Russ Ferguson wants to say Bulwark. Is that your final answer? Because that is correct. Bulwark is the name or alias that Odin took on when he stole the mead of poetry. All right.
I literally have to have my hand in front of my face because I'm like gonna say the words.
You can't, 'cause I'm playing.
Yeah. The wordy over here.
I can't help it. It's like you say the thing and I'm like,
Say the thing. All right. So now that
I get to hide behind a microphone, so I can.
yeah. Concealed behind the boomstick, you know. All right, so Russ, you get a choice. Do you want the birch, rum cherry, or black locust set? And once you figure that out, send me an email, midgardmusingstn@gmail.com. Post it here in the chat so that we know what's up for grabs for the next round for the rest of the folks participating. And then just like I said, send me an email with what it is that you were wanting, which you chose, and where we can ship it to. So while we're waiting for that, we will go into the next question. Who is the father of Odin? Who is the father of Odin? Russ, you're now out of the game, of course, because you've won a rune set. So if you know the answer, you can't respond. We just need to know which rune set you want. Okay, so Russ says, let's go with Black Locust. All right. So JM, for your reference or for your records, let's put Russ Ferguson down for the Black Locust. Russ, if you could just, like I said, email me your shipping address. And we'll work out the logistics of that. So for either the birch or rum cherry set, what is Odin's father's name? Alex says Bor, and Connor says Bor, but Alex came in first. So yes, Bor is the name of Odin's father. Congratulations, Alex. You won a rune set made by J.M. Olofsson. What would you like? Would you like the rum cherry or birch? Good job.
I'm glad my fiance is not on here. She would have said Bower.
yeah. Bower.
She's very country.
we love if she's watching, we love you. We love you, Charlie. We love you.
She's playing video games in the next room.
Oh, okay. Brain didn't break entirely after all, right, Alex? So yeah, just let us know in the chat which one you want. We'll mark it down, and then you just send me the email with your shipping address. All right, while you're putting that in there, I am going to come up with the last question over here. This shouldn't be too difficult. Yeah, cherry or birch is your choice, Alex. So you choose which one. And then whatever you don't choose will be what's up for grabs. So if you want whichever one you want, just post it in the chat and then email me your shipping details, shipping address. All right, I'm trying to think about this next question, how I'm going to word it, because I've got a question, but now I'm trying to make it just a little bit more challenging here.
I've got one if you don't mind.
Okay, yes. Make it a good one, JM, since these are your rune sets. Yeah, go ahead. So fire away.
In Norse mythology, they hearken so much to elements of the earth. The thunderstorm with Thor, tornadoes, tsunamis, the ocean, everything to do with nature. So what Norse entity or deity is attributed to the shaking of the earth? Where do we get earthquakes from, according to Norse mythology?
Good question. All right, folks. In Norse mythology, which deity, if you will, is tied to earthquakes? And Maria Fury is the first one to respond. It says Loki.
That's the winner.
That's the winner. Excellent. So Alex, we just need to know which rune set you want for your correct answer. So please in the comments put in birch or cherry, so that way we know which one to get. Maria Fury, congratulations, you won the remaining rune set, and for answering correctly first. Says she might faint with joy. Well, congratulations to everybody. So again, I do need shipping addresses to everybody who won. Alex wants birch, JM. So Maria, you have successfully won a rum cherry rune set. So there we go. We've got Russ with the black locust, Alex with the birch, and Maria with the rum cherry. I do need all your shipping details emailed to me, please, at midgardmusingstn@gmail.com. So you guys know how to get a hold of me if you have any more questions, but that has brought us successfully. Guys, we couldn't have timed it any better. Like we said we were going to do a 2-hour live stream. It started just a few minutes late. But we are now at the top of the hour. We went through our discussions. I think we had a really fun time. I want to say thank you to J.M. Olofsson, Matt Petrie, Night Shayde, Richard McCune, Eric Sjerven, Adam/Dingo Reed, and for being guests here on the show tonight and celebrating 3 years of Midgard Musings. I want to thank all of the people that have stayed with us thus far for the last 2 hours, especially those who have donated to the channel via Super Chat, and for your ongoing support over the last 3 years. You know, it's been a tremendous ride, and I'm honored to be in the presence, in the virtual presence of everybody who we have here tonight, and to be hosting this. So it has been a lot of fun. I want to say thank you to everybody. Raise whatever it is that you're drinking or sipping on, toast or skull, to everybody. So that's going to conclude the live stream. Anybody have anything they want to say before we go from my list of honored guests?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. But everybody out there watching, hey, you, yes, you. We are not alone. We are loved. We do matter. We are worthy. We are not a burden. And tomorrow would not be the same without us. That is me and you. I love you all. You are loved.
Thank you for that, Matt. And wow, thank you, Alex, who just donated $10 through the Super Chat. Thank you to all our participants in the trivia, in the games tonight for the giveaways. Thank you especially to those who have contributed items to the giveaway. You know, Dingo and Tiffany for moderating the chat and making the decals. J.M. Olofsson for making the rune sets and getting them shipped out to our winners. Dingo and Tiffany for shipping those decals out to the winners. Matt for hand carving that beautiful Mjolnir pendant. You know, so congratulations to everybody, and thank you all for your support. So you all have a wonderful night. Until we meet again, as Eric likes to say at the end of his videos. Eric, you want to say it? I don't want to steal that thunder, but go ahead.
May your hearth fires burn bright.
All right. Thank you all again. Have a wonderful night, and we'll talk.